Pharmacist Ben?
Hey, what's up, Mr. AJ? Long time no
Uh,
see.
yeah, it must be nice to travel around the country and do what you do.
I haven't been traveling. Oh, I did travel a couple weeks ago. I was in Dallas a couple weeks ago. And I've been around for a little bit. Came back a couple weeks, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago tomorrow. So what's going on? What's exciting?
Well, it's fantastic to see you. You know, the people have been clamoring to hear you.
No, they have not. Don't exaggerate.
Yes, they have, man.
Are they clamoring?
Okay, well, I don't know what clamoring means, but but if I knew what it really meant, I guess.
If I saw somebody clamored, I would know what it was. Or do we have? Or is anybody on the? Are we talking to anybody real, live, in person, or no?
We got. This is early. It is. See, look, Patty just says she missed you also.
Is that Patty? Patty's. I've been hearing Patty's name. I know that's a common name, but I've been hearing. Is this Patty in Santa Cruz?
Okay, so she.
Patty, are you in Santa Cruz?
And Gemma says that we have. We've missed you. I know you know who Gemma is.
I know who Gemma is, and I'm glad she's missing me. That makes me feel good.
That's right. Debbie, who you're going to do a show with tomorrow.
Debbie's on the call?
Debbie's here, yeah.
Hi, Debbie. We're going to talk about dirty blood with Debbie. Debbie wants to talk about dirty blood, so I'm not going to talk about it today.
I think that you have some follow-up to do from your last episode with Debbie. I think you left some.
Did I leave some stuff out?
Some stuff on the table.
All right.
She's got a really fixed time.
All right.
Patty, are you in Santa Cruz? Okay, she'll let us know. So, Pharmacist Ben, tonight, since I know you have limited time,
yes.
I got a lot of questions that kind of revolve around connective tissue issues.
Well, I think that's really impressive that you are zeroing in on what these problems are about. I know we talk about it all the time, connective tissue. Connective tissue is the bulk of the body, the meat of the body, actually the steak of the body. If you look at a steak is a cross section. So if I take my body like this and I slice it this way, that would make a steak. Can you picture that?
I would hate to cut you
off.
up.
Just in your imagination. I don't want you doing it. But
yeah, I wouldn't want to cut you up.
But if you just cut or pretend I was a cow that was standing up this way with my legs like this, my arms and legs this way, and you slice this way, you'll get a steak. And the steak would be made up of like red, pinkish stuff that we call meat, and then white stuff, which we call gristle, right?
Yes.
That gristle is connective tissue. And the relationship between the muscle tissue and the connective tissue is like a steak. The connective tissue wraps around the muscle tissue, and that forms what's called the flesh robot, what I call the flesh robot. And if you want to know what the flesh robot looks like, picture in your mind's eye the bodies exhibit that they have at the museums. You ever see the bodies exhibit? The bodies exhibit is the flesh robot. It's what you and I look like without our skin. Our skin is called epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue. And the body's electrified with nervous tissue or neural tissue. And the neural tissue and the nervous tissue and the epithelial tissue, in combination with the steak, the connective tissue and the muscle tissue, make up the four primal tissues of the body, four primal substances of the body. The body's made up of four primal substances: covering, which is epithelial tissue, electrification or electrical wires, which is neural tissue, and then the flesh robot, which is muscle and connective tissue. Follow so far?
Yes.
So far, so good?
Yes.
The connective tissue is critical for holding everything into place. It locks everything into place. It connects everything. That's why they call it connective tissue. It connects everything. All of the organs of the body are embedded in the connective tissue. All of the cells of the body are embedded in the connective tissue. The muscle is embedded in the connective tissue. The connective tissue forms a matrix, like a template, and everything's stuck inside of that. In fact, the name of the connective tissue is the connective tissue matrix. The word matrix means womb. When you think of a womb, you think of a fetus in the womb, right? And in the body, the organs are like the fetus and the connective tissue is like the womb. The cells are like the fetus and the connective tissue is like the womb. The Muscle tissue is like a fetus, and it's embedded in the connective tissue womb. Just like a fetus is embedded in a womb, the muscle tissue, the organs, and the cells are embedded in the connective tissue matrix. So far, so good?
Yes.
Right. I always give the analogy of Jello mold or fruit mold, right? You've seen a Jello mold. You have honeydew, and you have cantaloupe and berries, and they're all stuck in Jello. They call that a Jello mold or a fruit mold, right? You seen that?
Yes.
Old people like to eat that stuff. My grandmother used to make that Jello mold, right? So, what is Jello?
It's connective tissue that they take from.
Leave it. Stop right there. Stop right there. It's connective tissue. Jello is literally animal connective tissue. When you eat Jello, you're eating connective tissue. They call it gelatin, really, but gelatin is connective tissue, collagen specifically. So far, so good?
Yes.
So when you had Jello or a fruit sitting in a Jello mold, you basically have fruit sitting in connective tissue, which is why I analogize the body, the inside of the body, like fruit in a Jello mold. It's the same thing. Honeydew and Jello equal your heart and your spleen in your connective tissue. In fact, when we get older, our Jello deteriorates. Our connective tissue deteriorates, and things start to drop, or things start to pop through, or things start to get loose and hanging and saggy. These are all the things that happen as we age. You don't know this yet because you're a young man, but wait till you see in about 10 or 15 years, which is going to happen really quickly. Things are going to start to sag. They're going to start to pop out. They're going to start to get loose. And you're going to start to hunch over. You get pain and your joints. These are all the things that happen as we get older. Almost all of the things we hate about aging, from the heart disease and the vascular disease to the osteoporosis and the arthritis and the wrinkles and the hernias and the prolapses and the ruptures, they're all the manifestation of connective tissue deterioration. What's even worse is the connective tissue doesn't just hold everything in place. The connective tissue also feeds the cells. The cells are fed through the connective tissue. So when the connective tissue begins to deteriorate, the cells don't get nourished. The connective tissue is responsible for oxygenation of the cells. So when the connective tissue deteriorates, the cells don't get oxygenated effectively. The connective tissue also functions as a detoxification system. And that means when the connective tissue deteriorates, we don't detoxify as effectively. So as we age, our connective tissue deteriorates, we start to get saggy, we start to get loose. I call it
blobification.
Yeah, but I'm going to say that in a second. I'll tell you why we blobify. We start to get saggy, we start to get loose, we start to have pain, we don't move around as efficiently, we hunch over. All of these are signs of connective tissue deterioration. The blood vessels in the heart are dependent on connective tissue. So our heart becomes weak. Our blood vessels become weak when our connective tissue deteriorates. The bones are part of the connective tissue system. So the bones become weakened and our bones are not as strong. Because the blood vessels become weak, we tend to bruise when the connective tissue starts to deteriorate. Because the connective tissue feeds the cells and detoxifies the cells and oxygenates the cells, all of the cells of the body become weakened when the connective tissue begins to deteriorate. One of the things the connective tissue does is it structures water. There's a chemical reaction, actually a quantum reaction, not even chemical, an electrical reaction between water and connective tissue. And connective tissue actually structures water. It turns water from a big sloppy mess into coherent water, water that's structured and organized. This structured and organized water conducts electricity very effectively. The structured and organized water gives us a shape. And as that connective tissue deteriorates, the water becomes destructured, we blobify. Blobification is also the result of deterioration of connective tissue. For all of these reasons, building the connective tissue is the sine qua non. Have you ever heard that term? That's French. The very essence, the sine qua non of anti-aging is building the connective tissue. If you focus on building the connective tissue, not only will you stave off the aging process, not only slow down the aging process, but you'll be more functional. Your body will become more functional, be more pain-free. It will locomote better. The organs will all work more effectively, and you'll look younger and more beautiful as you focus on the connective tissue. You'll stave off aging. You'll be more functional. You'll be more attractive. You'll reduce the likelihood of degenerative diseases, all by focusing on the connective tissue, not the epithelial tissue, not the muscle tissue, not the nervous or neural tissue, the connective tissue. The essence of anti-aging is focusing on the connective tissue. Last thing I'll say is I'm in the skin business, as you know, and every day I get calls from people who want something they could put on their skin, not knowing that it's the connective tissue they're looking at, that they're looking at building. They think it's their skin. It's not the skin. It's the connective tissue. See, we confuse the skin that we see with the connective tissue. So when we have deep wrinkles or lack skin, this is not a skin problem. It's a connective tissue problem. Now, there are things you could do topically to build the connective tissue. Retinol, retinoic acid, vitamin C, topical exfoliation, microdermabrasion. There's certain strategies you can do to build connective tissue topically, but it's not the skin. It's the connective tissue that we're looking at building, not the skin. And we confuse the two. And that's why when people say, oh, here's this cream, put it on your skin and your wrinkles will go away. BS, horse hockey, unless the ingredients in the skin are there for the connective tissue. If you're just treating the skin, you're not going to be able to get to the connective tissue with the exception of exfoliation, which I don't want to get into now, but that's a type of skin exercise. Yes, sir. You have to go to the bathroom?
I'm sorry. Look,
you may be excused. Go and come back.
Before I have you give us the strategies to build these connective tissues, my question is, I'm looking at you, and I don't see any bags under the eyes. I see your skin looks good.
Well, I've been.
What is it that you're ingesting? Is it the collagen? Is it the Gluco-Gel? Please.
Yeah. I focus on building connective tissue.
What are you doing?
That's my focus. Well, all the specific supplements I do and the skin strategies I do. I'm in the skin business. I have a laboratory and a pharmacy where
just connective tissue wise, please.
Connective tissue, collagen. That's oral collagen.
Copious amounts of collagen?
Copious amounts of collagen, like tablespoons. Collagen peptides, which are breakdown, shortened versions or breakdown products of collagen. Glucosamine, chondroitin, hyaluronic acid, and I'm going to tell you a little secret now. I'm going to tell you a secret.
I won't tell
anybody. Don't share this with anybody.
Okay, I won't.
Just for all of us on the call. There is one particular substance that's an essential nutrient that is the key to turning on the connective tissue machinery. Without this key, you cannot make connective tissue, no matter what else you have. You can have all the collagen you want, all the collagen peptides and hyaluronic acid and glucosamine and all the sulfur and building blocks. But if you don't have this key, the connective tissue machinery will not kick into gear. It will not operate. The key to building this connective tissue, to the connective tissue building machinery, is the quintessential anti-aging substance, anti-aging nutrient. It's an essential nutrient. And because, present company excluded, most of us are dosing ourselves, not on this call and not in longevity, not me and you, but most Americans, most people in the world really, are dosing themselves with what's called the RDA. They are only getting RDA amounts of nutrients. The RDA, what does that stand for?
Ridiculously deficiency.
The ridiculous deficiency allowance, right?
Okay.
But the RDAs are there to keep you from suffering from a disease. They're not there to keep you strong and healthy and young. To keep yourself strong and healthy and young is not the same as to keep you from getting a disease. Keeping you from getting a disease is the low-hanging fruit. if you like baseball, you play baseball. Do you ever play baseball?
Yeah. Huh?
Right? When you play baseball, right? If you can hit 300, that's good. If you hit 250, you can still be in the majors, right? But if you want to be an all-star, if you want to be a Hall of Famer, if you want to be a great player, you can't just hit 250. You got to hit 350. And you can't just hit 10 home runs. You got to hit 50 home runs or 40 home runs. And you can't just have 30 RBIs. You got to have 100 RBIs, right?
Yes.
The RDAs are just to get you into the league. If you're happy just getting into the league, that's great. But if you want to be a Hall of Famer, if you want to be an all-star, if you want to make millions of dollars and be a superstar in baseball, you got to hit 300 and hit 50 home runs and have 120 RBIs every year. The RDAs are there if you just want to get in the league. You just don't want to not die. You just want to not get a horrible disease. But if you want to be young and healthy and strong and beautiful and live a long life, you need way more than the RDAs. That's why I call them ridiculous deficiency allowance. The RDA for this one particular nutrient, I'll tell you what it is here in a second, that is the key to turning on the machinery for building connective tissue. The RDA is about 100 milligrams a day. That's enough to keep you from dying. Great. If you don't want to die, that's great. And that's what doctors do. The doctor's job is to keep you from dying. And they do great at that. They will keep you in a freaking hospital bed with tubes up your nose and completely unconscious to where you have no life at all just to keep you alive. They'll do that. They do it all the time. There are people who are in a hospital bed and they're unconscious, they're comatose, they're vegetables, and they got tubes coming out everywhere, and they're injected every hour or half hour with all kinds of drugs, and they keep them alive. And that's what the doctors do. They keep them alive. That's great. But is that what we're satisfied with? Just staying alive? Good. If you're just staying alive, happy, just staying alive, take your multiple vitamin and, get your inevitable disease and die at age 76. But we deserve so much more than that. This message that we're talking about here is for people who feel like they deserve more than just being kept alive. They deserve much more than just somehow surviving. I believe people can thrive. And in order to do that, you need more than the RDAs. This one nutrient that turns on the production of connective tissue, that's without which you can't make connective tissue, all you need is a small amount to not have a horrible disease. But if you want to have beautiful skin and a beautiful strong heart and great fascia and wonderful muscle movement and be pain-free and not have arthritis, you need 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 milligrams a day. You need 10, 20, 30 times the RDA of this one nutrient, which is the anti-aging nutrient, the connective tissue building nutrient. You know what that is?
C.
Vitamin C, exactly. Vitamin C is the connective tissue building nutrient. Without vitamin C, you don't build connective tissue, no matter how much collagen you have and collagen peptides and high hyaluronic acid and glucosamine and chondroitin and everything else. If you don't have vitamin C, you ain't building connective tissue. If you have a small amount of vitamin C, you're going to build a small amount of connective tissue. If you have a large amount of vitamin C, you'll build more connective tissue. Vitamin C is the quintessential connective tissue building vitamin, without which you cannot build connective tissue no matter what else you have. The disease that's caused by vitamin C deficiency is called scurvy. Scurvy is a disease where you don't make connective tissue. And when you don't make connective tissue, you get chronic bruising, you get shriveling bones, deteriorating bones, you get arthritis, you get ruptures, you get hernias. Scurvy is aging. Or I should say aging is subclinical scurvy. Subclinical means it's not bad enough to put you in the hospital. Scurvy, you're going to die. It's a deadly disease. Aging is a subclinical version of scurvy, which makes vitamin C the quintessential anti-aging vitamin. And we've known about this in the skincare business. I've known about it for 40 years. I started developing vitamin C topicals. And that's why vitamin C is the most searched for term in the world of skincare. Everybody's looking for vitamin C because they don't know, but vitamin C builds connective tissue. It's the anti-aging vitamin for your skin, anti-aging ingredient for your skin. And that's my most important skincare products are all vitamin C containing products. But internally, vitamin C should be thought of as the anti-aging connective tissue building vitamin. If you understand how important connective tissue deterioration is when it comes to aging, you can understand how important vitamin C is for building connective tissue for anti-aging. And so for the folks you had somebody who had spondylolysis or spondylolisthesis, which is a slippage of the connective tissue in the vertebrae. Vitamin C, high doses. Now it's not quite that simple. You need other things too, but that's the basics. High doses of vitamin C.
Bring it on. What are the other things?
Also good. Also, essential fatty acids are very important. Essential fatty acids, the ultimate EFAs and ultimate EFA plus, are nature's anti-inflammatories. They're nature's aspirin. And along the same lines, inflammation is regulated by very small fats. They call them bioactive lipids. And these bioactive lipids are very tiny pieces of fat. And I'm kind of being a little colloquial here. They're not really fat. They're lipids, but technically speaking, they're fatty. And they're very small molecules. And one of those small molecules is something called CM, cetyl myristoyl. And we have a wonderful CM cream and CM capsule. Another very important anti-inflammatory for building connective tissue is our CM cream and CM capsule. There are other bioactive lipids such as endocannabinoids. Have you heard of endocannabinoids? You've heard of cannabinoids probably, right?
Yes, I've heard of endocannabinoids.
Like what's an example of an endocannabinoid?
Hemp seeds.
Hemp seed is not endo, but it's a cannabinoid.
Okay.
Endocannabinoids are molecules that are in the body that act like marijuana. And those endocannabinoids are also anti-inflammatories, endocannabinoids. So the endocannabinoid system, CM, cetyl myristoyl, another one called CLA, conjugated linoleic acid. There's a whole bunch of these bioactive lipids have anti-inflammatory properties, but the real issue with these bioactive lipids is if you have a gallbladder problem, or if you have a liver problem, or if you have an intestinal problem, you may not be making enough of these bioactive lipids, or you could be making inflammatory bioactive lipids that cause inflammation. So working on digestive health is also important. Working on intestinal health, working on gallbladder health. That means the nightly essence and the ultimate microbiome and the daily digest and the I-26 and correcting leaky gut and all the things we talk about with digestive health. Okay, so there's also minerals for building connective tissue. Magnesium and calcium are very important for the connective tissue, particularly magnesium. Zinc is also important for building the connective tissue. Protein is important for building the connective tissue. The TMR protein, whey protein, is especially important for building connective tissue. Do you know about the TMR?
I'm familiar with the TMR shake.
TMR shake has got a bunch of whey in it. There's a vegan TMR. That's not the one with the whey. The regular TMR shake, that one's got whey protein. Whey protein is specific for building connective tissue. One of my all-time favorite, well, copper is also very important for connective tissue. So is manganese. And I mentioned zinc earlier, calcium, magnesium. But one of my all-time favorite minerals for building connective tissue is one of the most underappreciated of all the minerals, also very important for the hormone system, and that is boron. Another important vitamin that's under-recognized for building connective tissue is vitamin D. Vitamin D is important for calcium absorption, and calcium plays a role in connective tissue. You there?
Okay, Pharmacist Ben.
Yes.
Okay, this is an issue I'm having here with what you're just saying.
Yeah.
Because you're mentioning specific things that are leading folks to think that fractionation is okay. So put them in products for us.
Everything's built around the Healthy Start Pack. Everything's built. The Healthy Start Pack. Look, you can go. There's a million places to get nutritional supplements. What Longevity does is it puts it in a system. So it gives you everything you need in a system. That system is drop shipped to you every month. You don't have to have any brain damage. Just every month you get a box with your monthly nutrients. You can put it all together yourself if you want. You can go to the internet and health food stores and weave everything together and get this brand and that brand, this supplement, that. But why? It's so easy. And it's relatively inexpensive for everything that you're getting. So yeah, I'm mentioning all the nutrients, but you want to get those nutrients in the Healthy Start Pack and the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. The Healthy Bone and Joint Pack, really, because that's got the Healthy Start Pack in it. So the Healthy Start Pack is the core of everything. If you want to build bone and connective tissue, it's the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. If you want to work with your blood sugar, it's the Healthy Blood Sugar Pack. If you want to work with your circulatory system or your brain, the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. If you want to work in the digestive system, the healthy digestion pack. So there's these systems that have been put in place to target parts of the body, but the healthy start pack is the core of it all. That's the mighty 90 essential nutrients. And yeah, I'm mentioning EFAs, I'm mentioning copper, I'm mentioning boron, I'm mentioning zinc, but do you really want to go and look on the internet to find zinc and to find boron and to find copper and to find manganese and to find magnesium and to find calcium? It'll take you forever. And then you have to buy them from all these different companies. You have to, we've done it all for you.
Okay, Pharmacist Ben. So I guess I'm not trying to steal your thunder here. What I'm getting at is, okay, so now the person who's got this loose spine, whatever the word is, this person is going to take
healthy bone and joint pack.
Bone and joint pack. She's now going to add collagen peptides.
I'd add the collagen
Gluco-Gel.
TMR. I think the Gluco-Gel's in the bone and joint pack, but I would add the TMR and I would add the collagen peptides.
Okay.
And I would also add, if she wants to do everything, I would also add digestive support because you got to make sure you're absorbing everything too.
Okay.
Ultimate enzymes, particularly. Ultimate enzymes, by the way, are anti-inflammatory, and that inflammation will accelerate the deterioration of connective tissue. So you want to keep inflammation down. Inflammation is protective in the short run, but in the long run, it will lead to the deterioration of tissue. Also, stress hormone, cortisol, in the long run will lead to deterioration of connective tissue. And elevated cortisol eventually will slow down the thyroid, which will lead to the deterioration of connective tissue. So working with the triangle of disease is also important, and that's where your digestion and the blood sugar system come in, working with the blood sugar system. So working with digestion, working with the blood sugar system, and getting on the healthy bone and joint pack for all connective tissue issues. And you can throw in the TMR and the collagen peptides.
I heard you earlier talk about bruising as you were
mentioning. Bruising also should be regarded as a connective tissue problem. Yes, correct.
Okay. And then the bags under the eyes is still...
Now, bags under the eyes are a little different. Remember I said how people have deep wrinkles or thinning skin, they often look at it as a skin problem when it's really a connective tissue problem. See, a lot of times we look at the skin and we see things on the skin and we say, oh, that's a skin problem. No, things show up on the skin, but that doesn't necessarily mean they start at the level of the skin. So bags under the eyes are not a skin problem. And there's a lot of things that make me mad about the skin business, which I've been for 40 years. It's a deceitful, rude, nasty business that's run, that involves people who don't know what they're talking about or people who are just flat out deceitful. And it just makes me really mad. And one of the things that makes me mad are people who sell creams and lotions for bags under the eyes. Bags under the eyes are not a skin problem. They're a circulatory problem. They're a blood problem and lymph problem. And they involve leakage from blood vessels. When blood vessels are leaky, that implies a few things. Number one, problems with the circulation. The blood's not moving correctly. It could also involve toxins that are getting into the blood, like histamine, through a leaky gut. So bags under the eyes should be regarded as leakage of fluids, not a skin problem. It's a leakage of fluids problem. And the way you address that is several ways. First of all, in the immediate sense, you could do lymphatic massage, and that's one way to handle it. But the real way to handle it is to work on the circulatory system. That means the healthy bone and joint, healthy brain heart pack, and if there's any digestive issues, to prevent the leakage of toxicity into the bloodstream through the intestine. That means working on leaky gut, working on SIBO, changing the way you eat, using I-26 and Daily Digest, laying off of gluten, etc. And I always hesitate to say laying off of gluten because there's so many different things. You know, when people talk about gluten, it's almost like they're talking to you like you're a baby, you know, infantilizing you. Gluten is just one of 1,000 different things. These are called, gluten is a plant defense molecule that punishes the silly animal that would eat the plant. Us, humans, you know? So the plants make weapons. The plants have defensive weapons that punish the animal that eats them, so the animal won't eat it anymore. We eat it anyway. We just say, screw it, I'm just going to eat that bread. But theoretically, under the way it's supposed to work is we're not supposed to eat things that punish our body. So gluten is one problem, but there's a whole bunch of them. People can have a problem with lettuce. People have a problem with eggplant. They got a problem with Brussels sprouts. They got a problem with broccoli. They can have a problem with oranges, the problem with strawberries, problem with all kinds of things. It's not just gluten. You got to look for your symptoms. So whenever you have a circulatory problem, it usually implies leaky vessels. Vessels become leaky when the immune system is activated. Why would vessels, let me ask you this logically, why would vessels become leaky when the immune system is activated?
Well, because the immune system is going to send things to fight a problem.
Right, good. You're on the right track.
And then that might cause some expansion, and then
so you can have, so those white blood cells and those immune cells can get to the tissue. If they're stuck in the bloodstream, they're not going to get to the tissue. So the blood vessels will open up so that the blood cell, the immune cells can get out of the blood cells into the tissue. So that's why leakages and redness and vasodilation, expansion of blood vessels, are associated with immunity or with an activated immune system. So fluid, bags under the eyes are fluid leakage. You can actually see it, purple. You can actually see purple sometimes. That's the pigment, the blood pigments that you can see under the eyes. People think that's skin. That's not skin. That's blood pigments that you're seeing. And it happens to children who have milk allergies, dairy allergies, or wheat allergies, or eczema, or asthma. They'll get this too. If it happens, this leakage happens inside the ears, they'll get ear infections. So all of these are signs of activated immunity. Whenever you have activated immunity, backtrack to the digestive system. Always, 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 always. When you have activated immunity, whether it's manifested as leakages or itching or rashes or ear infections or autoimmune diseases, always backtrack to the intestine and leaky gut. Rule of thumb.
Okay, so does that also count for dark circles under the eyes?
Yes, same thing. Same exact thing. In fact, bags, by the way, you'll notice that bags are worse first thing in the morning. And then as you get up and do your day, a lot of times the bags disappear. Now, when they get really severe, they'll last all day. But for a lot of people, they'll notice them in the morning, and then during the day, they go away. Why would that be? Well, when you're lying down for 8 hours, yes, exactly. When you're laying down for 8 hours, you're not moving. There's no circulation, or there's less circulation. When you get up and you start moving, you improve the circulatory system, and the bags disappear, or they become less prominent. So bags under the eyes are circulatory. They're not skin. They involve leaks from the blood vessels, which typically involves the immune system. And they could also involve sluggish circulation, which involves the heart and the liver and the kidneys.
Okay, I have got, since you mentioned thyroid, I had a gentleman who had a number of problems, but one acute problem that he's dealing with was that they want to take out some nodule they found in his thyroid. And
first of all, if you go to a carpenter and ask him to fix your car, he's going to take a hammer and nail. He's going to try to fix your transmission. What's going to happen to your transmission with this hammer and nail? He's going to destroy it. If you go to a doctor for, thyroid nodules, he's not a biochemist. He's not going to know what to do. He's going to take the nodules out. You get nodules in the thyroid when the thyroid is overworked, when it's under stress, when it's trying to grab iodine, when it's trying to do its work and doesn't have enough power to do its work. Nodules are a sign of a defective thyroid, of a thyroid that's overworked. You can't work on the thyroid by itself. That's the tip of the triangle. You can't focus on the tip by itself, but you can go backwards. Hypothyroidism should always be backtracked to adrenal issues, which involves the reproductive hormones and cortisol, and then further backtrack to metabolic syndrome, which is the blood sugar system. And this is true, by the way, for people who have problems with sex hormones. A lot of men who are feeling less manly, they're not making enough testosterone, metabolic syndrome. A lot of women who are having female hormone issues, metabolic syndrome. The failure of hormone replacement therapy, which works occasionally but usually doesn't, is because the problem is not at the adrenals, it's behind the adrenals, at the level of the blood sugar system and the digestive system. So for all hormone issues, including thyroid hormone, You backtrack to metabolic syndrome, to the blood sugar system and the digestive system. Healthy blood sugar pack, healthy digestion pack. Eliminate problem foods, not just gluten, all problem foods.
Okay, what about the lymphatic support type?
Lymphatics in the blood are part of the circulatory system.
Okay.
Lymphatics are a little bit unique in the sense that they don't have a pump. The lymphatics, the heart has a pump. I'm sorry, the blood has a pump, the heart, right? The heart pumps. And actually, as you mentioned a few months ago, you told me this, and you were right. It's actually not the heart that's pumping, it's electricity that's pulling the blood through. And that's a whole nother very fascinating story. But for our purposes, we'll say the heart is pumping the blood. You don't have that with the lymph. The lymph has no pump. The lymph depends on muscles, muscular contractions to pump. If you're not moving your muscles, your lymph is not going to move. Sedentary lifestyle will create a sluggishness in the lymph. And that means exercising. Also deep breathing, slow deep breathing, where the diaphragm goes down and goes up and down and up. That pumps the lymph. It also pumps the blood. And so for people who have heart failure, slow deep breathing can act like a second heart or an accessory heart if you have heart failure. But also for the lymph, moving is very important for the lymph. Hot and cold plunges, hot and cold water can help you with your lymph. Jumping up and down on a rebounder can help you with your lymph. Lymphatic massage or dry brushing can help you with your lymphatic system. There's a lot of ways to improve lymphatic circulation. Lymphedema or leakages of fluid from the lymph, which occurs in the lower part of the body or in the top part of the body, like the legs and the extremities, the ankles, the feet, or in the face, or here under the eyes, sometimes down along the jawline. Estheticians, skincare professionals will do lymphatic massage to get the lymphatic system moving. All of that can result in a pooling of lymphatic fluid, and that can cause edema, lymphedema, or it can also cause bags under the eyes. So moving the lymph is very important. The lymph also is responsible for delivering fatty vitamins, for delivering hormones, and for detoxification. So when the lymph is sluggish, you're not going to be delivering your nutrients to your cells as effectively. You're not going to be delivering hormones to the cells as effectively, and you're not going to be detoxifying as effectively. For all of these reasons, moving the lymph is critical. You know, sometimes you'll hear people say things like, "Oh, my grandfather ate bacon and he ate bread all day and he smoked and blah, 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 and he lived to be 100 years old." What's up with that? Well, your grandfather was walking to the store. He was farming. He was active. He was moving his body. He was moving his lymphatic system. Today, we're sedentary. We don't have the same kind of activity level that our ancestors had. And so stagnation of the lymph is a serious health problem, not only because of nutrient delivery and hormone delivery, but because of toxicity. The lymph is draining out toxins out of the body. So lymphatic circulation is extremely important because there's no heart, because there's no pump like the heart. We're the pump. Your muscles are the pump. Moving your body is critically important. One of the things, I always tell people, if you feel sometimes, when was the last? Do you ever get? Have you had a cold lately? Have you gotten sick lately, AJ?
Not lately.
Not lately. But you remember when the last time you got sick? Go back in your memory. You know how, like, right before you get sick, you kind of feel like you're moving in molasses a little bit. Like things are a little kind of sluggish and you just don't have the same energy levels. And that's the time that you want to move your lymph. And if you get that kind of feeling right before you get sick, you just kind of don't feel right. You feel almost like you're moving in some thick substance. Your body's not moving right. That's the time to get on a rebounder. That's the time to get on an inversion device if you can. That's the time to drink a lot of water. I forgot to mention, drinking a lot of water can help dilute the lymph and the blood for that matter. So that can improve circulation as well, making sure that you're drinking enough water.
My jump rope?
With BTT, jump rope's great. Jump rope's great. Do you jump rope?
Yeah, well, I have a jump rope.
Yeah, I haven't in a while either.
It's collecting dust.
Yeah, I know. I haven't jumped rope probably in 10 years, but jumping rope's great. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, we got a number of questions because I know that you have another appointment.
I have another call here in a few minutes, so let's get the question.
So Texas Hill, I'm just going to give a couple comments first before I ask the questions.
Okay.
Texas Hill Country says he's going to take some vitamin C right now.
Nice.
Annie, good to see you. She's got a question. Ruth Ellen says, hello, AJ and Ben. Love you both. Debbie, Debbie is all over it.
Debbie, my friend Debbie from Debbie.
My friend Debbie first, but well, maybe your friend first.
From tomorrow?
Yeah, for tomorrow. And then, quick question. Chris says, what's the best way to take his plant-derived minerals and make his stomach turn and send him to the bathroom?
That a couple things. First of all, that tells me that he's doing too much all at once. So dilute the dose, and that's not uncommon. We hear that a lot about digestive distress from the minerals. Smaller doses, number one, and build yourself up gradually. The instructions on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine that say 2 scoops in a glass of water or 1 scoop in a glass of water, those are ridiculous. I don't know why they put that there.
What do you mean?
It's way too much for most people. Some people can do it, but it's way too much. I like doing it to taste. If you try to do it all at once, your body will excrete what it doesn't use.
Right.
So if you do it in divided doses, and in pharmacy, you always take your medicine for best results. You always take your medicine in divided doses. Now, you have to balance out convenience with divided doses. You can't take a dose every 10 minutes, obviously. So you got to find a place where it's convenient to take to divide doses 2 or 3 times a day. What I do with my Beyond Tangy Tangerine is I fill up a water bottle and I drink it down. This is my 3rd one today. And I drink it down, and I do another one, and I do another one. Usually 2 or 3 a day. Sometimes
yours
4.
Yours looks pretty light, though. By the way,
because I like the taste. I go by the taste. If you don't like the taste of it, you're not going to drink it. There's so many people who try to do 2 scoops. They don't like the taste, or they get digestive distress, and they don't do it. It's tragic. Beyond Tangy Tangerine is one of the most incredibly formulated, nutrient-dense, easy-to-use nutritional supplements, relatively inexpensive for what you're getting, nutritional supplements you'll ever use. And it breaks my heart to hear people say, I don't like the taste, or I did the Beyond Tangy Tangerine and I bloated, or I diarrhea, or I was uncomfortable and I don't want to do it anymore. It breaks my heart because it's such a powerful, such an effective nutritional supplement for energy, for giving you the basic building blocks, for anti-aging and for bodily repair and for all the things that you want a nutritional supplement for driving cell production of collagen and connective tissue, for digestive health, for blood sugar support. It's such an amazing supplement. And there's so many people say, I tried it, I hated the taste. Why? Because they try to do 2 scoops. Vitamins don't taste good. Minerals don't taste good. They have to put like flavoring in these things to make it palatable. And if you do too much, it just doesn't taste right. So I do about maybe a half to 3/4 of a teaspoon, usually not a full teaspoonful, half to 3/4 of a teaspoonful in a bottle of water this size. It has about this color, and it tastes just where I like it. My mom, when I give my mom, it's funny, I tried to get my mom to be on Tangy Tangerine for years. And then in the last about year and a half, she started doing it, changed her life. And her body's falling apart, but she moves. I don't know how she does it, but she moves. And she wasn't moving like that before she started the Beyond Tangy Tangerine.
Wow.
And I did it for my dad. My dad had dementia when he was in the nursing home, and they wouldn't let me give him BTT. So I had to sneak it in when I went and visited him. And I would give him I put it in a bottle. I give him the bottle. And as he's sipping on it, I could see him in front of my eyes. He would get better. As I was watching him sip on it, he would get more clear-headed. But with Beyond Tangy Tangerine, you got to find the place where the taste is good. For my mom, if it's too weak, she doesn't like the taste of it. She needs it stronger. I don't like it too strong. I like it a little bit lighter. So everybody's going to have their place where they like the taste of it. That's what's important, that you like the taste of it, because then you can sip on it. And then when you sip on it, you get smaller doses, but you get them more frequently with more consistency. And that's the way the body likes to absorb nutrients. If you do a bunch all at once, you'll get some, but then you'll urinate out everything, the rest of it. Not everything, but you'll urinate out the rest of it. So it makes more sense to do divided doses of Beyond.
And I tell everybody what you've always told us: sip it throughout the day.
Sip it throughout the day. So for this gentleman or lady who said that, that sounds like there's too high a dose. It could also mean that there's malabsorption. See, when you eat a food, it goes into your stomach and then goes into your intestine. The small intestine is where nutrients are absorbed. The large intestine is where water is absorbed. That's how you get a stool. That's how you get a turd. The water gets sucked out of all the food and you get the solid stool, and that's what gets eliminated. However, if you have malabsorption at the level of the intestine, which many people do, or if you're doing too high a dose and too many nutrients are in the small intestine, your body can't absorb them into the blood, they will go into the large intestine. And at that point, they will pull water with them. The minerals absorb water. That's how come they're in water. We say in chemistry, they're hygroscopic. Hygro, Hygro. Hygroscopic means water absorbing. Hygroscopicity is the property of absorbing water. Minerals, plant-derived minerals, are hygroscopic. Ordinary minerals aren't. Plant-derived minerals are hygroscopic. So as they leave your small intestine, they'll pull water with them into the large intestine. And now, instead of a dry stool, you'll have wet, explosive stool and cramping and bloating, because now you've got water in your belly, in your large intestine. Not your belly, but in your large intestine, where you're not supposed to have a lot of water. So explosive diarrhea, bloating, loose stools, these are all signs that you're not absorbing water in the large intestine. And it could be because you have a problem at the level of the large intestine, or it could be a problem with bile or pancreatic juices. But if it happens after you do your minerals, your beyond tangy tangerine, that tells me you're not absorbing those minerals, which means you got to, number one, do smaller doses. And number two, you got to work on malabsorption issues, because if you're not absorbing your minerals at the level of the intestine, you're likely not absorbing a lot of other things. And that could be a problem. And that's one of the things about intestinal problems, small intestinal problems, leaky gut, SIBO, ulcerative colitis, or Crohn's or celiac, all these issues that occur at the level of the small intestine. Number one, you're going to get toxicity into the blood, but number two, you're going to be functionally starving, because you're not going to absorb your electrolytes. You're not going to absorb your B vitamins. You're not going to absorb your vitamin C. You're not going to absorb your nutrients because of the deterioration or the disturbance at the level of the intestine. So now you got toxicity plus malabsorption. So you're functionally starving and you're toxic. That's why intestinal health is so darn important. I hope I answered that question.
That was amazingly explanatory. And then I know you got to go, but you can't go.
Yeah.
What?
We'll be back on Daily with Doc tomorrow.
Friday.
Friday.
Tomorrow.
Right. Friday.
You got 15 more seconds for this other question?
Yes.
What can you take if your ferritin is at 9, but your hemoglobin is good? How can I build muscle if I can't eat a lot of protein? And she says,
why can't you eat a lot of well, first of all, you don't need to eat a lot of protein to build muscle, but why can't you eat a lot of protein? I would want to know. I'd want to address that.
She doesn't say. She says, I forgot to say I followed your advice and currently taking the Healthy Body Start Pack, I-26 enzymes, ACV, with enzymes before meals, and my acid reflux and digestion has improved so much.
Well, good for you. Now, so there's some problems there. I'd want to know what the problem is with the protein. Sounds like there may be some digestive issues you could work on. Ferritin is a protein in the cells that holds on that traps iron. 9's a little low. What does she say? Tell me, read the question again.
Ferritin level is 9, but her hemoglobin is good.
Well, ferritin's a little low. Ferritin, like I said, is a protein that stores iron. So I'm not understanding what the question is. Is it about building muscle?
What can I take if my ferritin level is at 9, but my hemoglobin is good? Okay,
so ferritin, ferritin is a protein. So there's a couple things. First of all, I would work on muscle, on building protein. She can't eat dietary protein. I'm not sure why that is, but that would be one strategy, is to make sure you're doing dietary protein. That can be supplemental protein like the TMR, which I absolutely love. It could be more lean beef. Lean meat can increase ferritin. And then also vitamin C will increase the absorption of iron. It's not going to necessarily help with the ferritin, but it can increase the absorption of iron. And then also copper is important for helping absorb iron at the intestines. And you can increase ferritin by eating shellfish, seafood, oysters, mushrooms, dark chocolate. All these are good sources of copper. Of course, you can also use copper. We have copper in our Healthy Start Pack. Use copper supplements. You can also use iron supplements. I'm not a really big believer in iron supplements. I would work on her protein, work on eating more protein, more vitamin C, more copper. And if you can't do protein, I don't know why you wouldn't be able to do protein supplements, but if you can't, things like lean beef, or also sprouts, fermented legumes. Legumes are good, but some people have a problem with them. But if you ferment your legumes, you can improve the iron. There's iron in legumes, and you can improve the iron availability by fermenting it. So those are some strategies you could do. But I want to know why she can't do protein, because there may be some kind of enzyme issue, issue that she can resolve with digestive enzymes or stomach acid. So I want to get a little bit more specific on why she can't absorb protein, because protein is really the strategy for low ferritin. And then for iron absorption, copper and vitamin C.
Well, Pharmacist Ben, you know, I'm on the internet, and I don't know, you're not going to admit it, but people are, I don't know, if you're from New York, you ever hear biting your style? You ever hear that term?
No. What does that mean? Fighting your style?
Yeah, they're copycatting you, man.
Who is copycatting me? How can you copycat me?
Tons of Pharmacist Ben copycatters.
Oh, there's clones? Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Yeah, well, you know, we really appreciate you.
I appreciate you. And I appreciate all my fellow longevity friends and distributors, and all of us who want to help make the world a better place and a healthier place. God bless everybody. I'm so grateful to be part of the longevity family. And I'm so grateful to have a friend like AJ, Sportus Nutritionis.
You don't like to take the shine for yourself, man. But
no, it's not about me.
It's about you, man. You're the one
not even here.
who are teaching us and giving up your time to do so, and we really appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you. And thank you, everybody.